welcome to my channel. My name is Kyra and today I'm bringing to you 4 looks with 4 different palettes that dupe other high-end palettes and some palettes that are no longer available. So without further ado, I'm just gonna get straight into the looks. It's gonna be a longer video. I talked through each of these looks, just telling you my first impressions, how I felt about the formulas, how I created the looks, and so on. So let's get into it right now. Okay, so the first palette that we're going to use is the Frost palette from Ccolor Cosmetics. I know that this is supposed to dupe a Kylie palette. I think one of her, I think they were like the Naughty and the Nice palette. This was the Nice palette. But I'll put the actual palette along with the name up on the screen right here for you. I think I'll go ahead and just start out with this really nice peachy tone right here. There are no names on the palette, so I'll only be able to point them out to you. You know, there's a normal amount of kick up here in the palette, which definitely doesn't necessarily mean anything, but it's applying on the eye nice and smooth and buffing and blending nicely. I think the next shade I'm going to go into is this one right here. I keep this just ever so slightly lower down in the transition area. Kind of a rosy brown, I guess, or a brownie rose, depending on how you look at it. That's really pretty. I'm very impressed so far with how these are blending. I think next I want to go into this really pretty salmon looking shade. I'm going to take like a small dense brush and kind of build this up on the outer part of the lid as well as up into the crease. I will say, you know, this is a little bit of a more confusing color story, if you will. There's a lot of mixing of warm and cool tones in here, and of course you can stick with warm tones or cool tones if you so choose. I really love mixing warm tones and cool tones, which is probably why this palette spoke to me immediately. That was so easy. What a pretty color. I love me a good salmon color. I like salmon too though. For the lower lash line, I'm gonna go ahead and put some of the salmon shade on the under, making sure that I have the upstairs and the downstairs connected. And then on the same little smudger brush, I think I'm gonna go in with this right here. Kind of looks like a plummy brown. I just want a little definition on the outer part of the lid here, and I kind of like work it up a little bit like a cat eye, and then I sort of blend it in a little bit, and then whatever's left on the brush, I'm just going to kind of take that down, make sure the upstairs and downstairs are connected, but keeping this deeper shade to about the outer third quarter of the eye. For the star of the shoe, I'm gonna go in with this beautiful sort of, I'm gonna say it's a lavender. Feels really nice. It's very smooth. Just for gets and jiggles, I'm gonna go ahead and try to apply this wet. So I'm picking up a good amount of the shadow on my brush and taking my Mario Badescu facial spray that I have in this bottle here, and starting on the inside, I'm going to pat this on the eyelid. Last but not least, I'm going back into that salmon shade. I'm going to use this to tap back and forth between the deep shade and the, sorry if you can hear my bracelet, the deep shade and the shimmer shade. I'm gonna pull out my Becca Afterglow palette. This is the Sunset one, and go ahead and use Champagne Pop for my inner corner. Beautiful. I really like that. All right, I'm gonna pop off of here, do liner, lashes, lips, and something with the hair, and then I will be right back to show you the final look. All right, we are back, and this is the finished look. with the Frost palette from Ccolor Cosmetics. First impressions, I'm very impressed with the application of the eyeshadow. It's very easy to apply, not a ton of kick up. Everything was very smooth in application as well. Obviously, I've only used a handful of the shades in here, but I went ahead and used the Revlon Ultra HD Vinyl Lip Polish, and this is the shade Date Night. Are you? Yes, Date Night. So far so good with the Frost palette. I'm glad I picked it up even though it wasn't on my radar or it wasn't the intention of my little order from Ccolor Cosmetics. So stay tuned for the second dupe palette. Alright, welcome to the second dupe palette look. This is the YOUCANBE Magic Spell eyeshadow palette. I ordered this on Amazon. I had seen this on Leah McDonald. I believe that's her last name. I'll put it on the screen. I'm sorry if I got that wrong, Leah. But I saw this on her channel and I had to have it because it is very dupey for the Lime Crime Venus XL. I think I'm going to start off with this shade right here. It's kind of a taupey shade called Bewitchment. I don't even know if that's really a word. Very nice. Not a lot of kick up in the pan. I swatched this yesterday and I was like, oh, so pretty. And I'm glad I did swatch it actually, because, and why I swatch most palettes before I use them for the first time, because so many of these shades don't look the same in the swatches as they do in the palette. And that's, you know, that's good information right there. I think I'm gonna next go into this brown right here called Invisible. And I'm gonna first start this on the outer part of the lid, getting the bulk of the pigment off here. And then I'm gonna flip my little pinched fluffy brush here and start working on blending in a circular motion right here in my socket and in line with the end of my brow. That's going to give the eye a nice little lift right there. I cannot resist using this beautiful duochrome called Dimension in here. It's kind of a brown green. It kind of reminds me of, what is that shade in the Jackie Aina palette, Sponsored? I'm going to first lay it down with the brush and get it nice and smooth. And then I will go back in with my finger, see if we can punch up the intensity, and then if need be, we'll foil it. But these feel very nice and soft. Feels like good quality. I think I will try foiling it just for gits and shiggles. Pick it up on the brooch, and I'm gonna use my Mario Badescu Orange and Sage, Orange Blossom and Sage. I was gonna say Orange and Sage Blossom. That's not right. And see if we can't foil this a little bit. That definitely helped apply a little bit more shine. I'm going to take a little bit more on my finger and press that on while the shadow is still kind of wet from foiling it. A little trick of mine. I'm going to go in with this little bit glittery shade called Rune, like R-U-N-E. I can't say that word for some reason. First Coffee. I think I'm going to use just a touch of glitter glue. This is very glittery, so I'm going to press it on in hopes that I will not get fallout. Very glittery. I'm going to try foiling it actually. See if that works better. A little chunky, which can sometimes happen with like trying to foil a more glittery shade. Oh yeah. I think phalange is the way to go. I think I'm going to go into this bright green metallic right here called Sorcery, and I'm just going to wrap that around the tear duct and maybe even disguise some of the texture from the glitter. Yeah, I like that better. Looks kind of pulls out a little bit more of the green. For the lower lash line, I'm just gonna go in with a mix of Invisible and Bewitchment here and just run that along the lower lash line. I am going to take it all the way across and kind of blend it with that green shade. All right, I'm gonna pop off of here, do some liner, mascara, and a lip, and I will come back and show you the final look. All right, we're back. This is the completed look. For lips, I lined my lips with my Holy Grail Whirl lip liner from MAC. And then this is one I haven't gotten a lot of use out of, but whenever I use it, I really, really like this. This is the NudeStix Gel Color Lip Plus Cheek Balm in the shade Pulse. It's really pretty, and I love this like literally gel formula. I think I'm going to really, really like this. You can see here how shiny and lovely these shades look. So I'm impressed. I believe this was a $10 palette on Amazon. YOUCANBE is a brand that I've seen around a lot, especially in terms of dupe palettes. So if you're looking for something affordable, of course, all of these palettes will be linked down in the description box for you. And stay tuned because we're getting into look 3 right now. Hi guys, welcome to look 3 with the Alter Ego Aurora palette. This is supposed to be the dupe for the Natasha Denona Sunrise palette. And I think the shade I'm going to start with is this one right here called Shine. It's such a pretty, like, buttercreamy looking yellow, so we shall see if it comes off that way. I had to build that up quite a bit for it even to show up, but there you go. I think next I want to try this peachy salmon-y tone called Star. I'm gonna take a smaller, dense, domed brush and, whoa, these definitely have kick up, I will say that. And try and build this up in the crease a little bit. Oh yeah, that's much better. Maybe I'm going to just have to pack on a little of that buttercream yellow shade. Once I've got that on, I'm just gonna lightly go over the edges. So going back into that first shade called Shine with the same dense brush, I think I'll focus this more on the inner part, and again just kind of pack it on there, and then we'll blend it a little bit back. And even with this, you know, strategic placing here of this yellow, it's still not the most brilliant yellow, and it isn't in the pan either, but it does show up a little better. I think I'm gonna go in uncharacteristically into this like rusty orange shade called Flare. I'm just going to use that same dense brush. This one I'm going to tap off a little bit. I suspect we'll get more pigment with a deeper color. I know, it's kind of a crazy concept. This is really pretty. Goes with these other two shades really nicely. Okay, that's really pretty. I'm gonna take the same shade on a flat definer brush when I find one on the lower lash line, and just press this up really close to the lash line and take it about halfway across. And now I'm gonna go back into that peachy shade Star and complete the lower lash line. I'm gonna blend out that first shade with it. Starting just like right on the edge of where the rusty orange ended and blending it in. I think I'm gonna first go into this more true gold called Luminary. I'm gonna start this right in the center of the lid and then kind of blend it with that deeper rusty shade that's in the outer corner. These feel really nice and soft. The mattes definitely have a good amount of kick up, but this shimmer, like, no more than to be expected. All right, I just want to try my phalange on the other side. Oh yeah, I like it with the phalange better. I'm gonna build it up just slightly on this side. And now for the inner part of the lid, I'm gonna go in with this light gold, almost verging on champagne, and the shade is called Brilliance. I think for science, we owe it to ourselves, or I owe it to you, one or the other, to try and wet this shadow. So I'm gonna pick up a good amount on the brush. Now I find that at a certain age, I think foiling can sometimes add texture to the lid. That's just my experience, but that's really pretty. And just to use another color, I'm gonna go in with this shade right here called Stellar. It's champagne-y, peachy, pinky. I think it's lighter than the light gold, so we're gonna try this as an inner corner and then kind of pull that up a little bit in front of the light gold, just to mostly to blend. All right, that is it for this look. I'm gonna pop off, do some liner, mascara, and a lip, and we'll come back. The hair will look better, allegedly, and I will show you the final look. All right, we are back. I finished off with the ColourPop Just a Tint Lippie in Gimme Some More, which is appropriate for summer, I think. And what do we think on this palette so far? I like it. I think I'm going to be glad that I bought this one and not the Natasha Denona one, because I don't wear looks like this super frequently, like really warm looks or sunset eyes or things like that. I think I'm gonna be glad to have a lot of these shades sort of individually. I mean, verdict's out. There's a lot more of the palette that I haven't used today. Of course, this is a first impression, but I was pleased with the formula. Overall, I'm really pleased with the look, and I'm looking forward to using this some more in the future. Get it? Give me some more. So that's it. Stay tuned for look 4. Hi guys, and welcome to the 4th dupe look with the Savannah palette from Ccolor Cosmetics. This is the palette that I originally wanted to get a dupe for. It is a dupe for the Safari palette from Natasha Denona. That came slow. And the Natasha Denona palette was on sale for half off, and I really struggled on whether to purchase it or not. I really wanted it. But the thing is, as you'll find out today, I'm not really into all matte looks. I see this as a companion palette, so we are going to do a matte look. I may add some shimmer at the very end after you see the completed matte look, but I just thought it would be a smart idea to order this palette, see if I actually like the color story, if I reach for this $10 palette, and then, you know, if I felt like I wanted the same thing in a better formula from Natasha Denona, I could order it then. But let's go ahead and get into this. And the birds are very Twitter-pated this morning, so enjoy. I think I want to go in with this sort of gray blue, this light shade right here. Allegedly, I'm going to do a pink and green look today. We'll see how that turns out. There is a reason that I don't do matte looks. I love shimmer. But I did think, what a nice palette to have to just reach into for some basic mattes, or even some less than basic mattes, some fun mattes, and, you know, use this in conjunction with other palettes that might be missing mattes that I would enjoy. Next, I'm going to go into this kind of gray-green shade. I'm going to put this on the outer part of my lid first, place it here, get the most pigment off before I bring it up into the crease, because I don't want to look like I got punched in the eye today. I have a 5-year-old's birthday party to go to, which I'm super excited for. My best friend's little boy, is turning 5. He's her last baby / our last baby. I just love all of her kids to pieces. They are my nieces and nephews insofar as I'm concerned. He's a fun one, and he wants McDonald's for his birthday dinner, which I think is super cute. Like, you know, that's fine dining for a 5-year-old, you know. Little blend with the original shade and the original brush. Let's do the lid shade first. I'm gonna go in with this pink. I love pink and green together. If you don't, you could certainly use any other color. I think this golden yellow, kind of mustard yellow, would be really pretty with this look too, but I love pink and green together. So I'm going to start this on the inner part of the lid because this is a matte. When I bring it out to blend it with the green, I don't want to go back into my inner corner with this shade. And I am going to do still what I normally like to do with my lid shade or my highlighting lid shade, and that is to bring it up into the transition area a little bit. So far, I have no complaints on the formula on this. It feels nice and soft. There's not an outrageous amount of kick up in the pan, which is awesome. What I can't decide is if I want to do a little blend between the dark green and the light pink with this sort of berry shade. And I'm thinking, why not? So I'm going to take the same brush that I had the lighter pink on, and I'm just going to tap this a little bit on the edge between the deep green and the light pink, and that didn't show up at all. Yeah, I like that better. Just playing around. Okay, what do we want to do for the lower lash line? I think I'll do like a mix of the first 2 shades, those 2 greens. And I'm only bringing this in, 2/3 of the way. All right, I think this is where I'm going to leave the look. I'm gonna pop off of here and do some mascara, no liner, because it's gonna be super hot today. And probably all this makeup's gonna melt off my face. I'll do a lip, I'll do the hair, and then I will come back with my final thoughts on all 4 Dupe palettes. And this is the final look with the Savannah palette from Ccolor Cosmetics. I really like how this turned out. In the viewfinder, in the mirror from this distance, I like the look. Looking up close, mattes just make my eyes look dry. It doesn't really matter what the matte is. I mean, there's a few exceptional mattes, but this is definitely a companion palette for me, and that's all I have to say about that. So I thought it would be fun just to wrap up this video based on my first impressions. I've used most of these palettes twice, and that's it. So, you know, these are not my final thoughts or anything, but based on my first impressions, I want to rank these 4 palettes for you, so let's do that. And I decided to rank these under the lens of which ones I'm most excited to use more, get to know more, etc. Also, I would love it if you would leave down in the comments if you want to see any specific videos or more looks with any of these specific palettes. They'll be linked in the description box in case you forget the name. So, the palette that I'm most excited to keep using is honestly the last one I bought on a whim. It's the YOUCANBE Magic Spell palette, which is Dupe. I wouldn't say it's a dupe, but it's Dupe for the Lime Crime Venus XL2. And there's just so many good shimmers in here that I'm actually really excited to use this some more. Like I said, this palette, there's so many like duochromes and shifty business going on in this palette. So I'm really excited to use this. I feel like this is going to suffice for the want for the Venus XL2. I don't feel like I'm gonna need to buy that palette now based on the fact that I have this one. The next palette that I'm most excited to keep using is also an add-on that I did not intend to purchase for, you know, trying out dupe palettes, and that is the Frost palette from Ccolor Cosmetics. I could care less about Ccolor Cosmetics. This color story really spoke to me, and I'm very excited to keep moving along with this and try some more of the shades in here. It performed really well. I've used it twice, and I really like the looks that I came out with both times. The next one that I'm probably most excited to use is the Savannah palette, and using this in conjunction with other palettes. I always, when I'm like testing palettes or trying to get a first impression on a palette or things like that, I always use that palette and only that palette. So now I'm really excited that I've done this look, that I can go in and add some shimmers and things like that and pair this with other palettes that I really love. The one that like tripped my trigger the least, so to speak, is the Aurora palette from Alter Ego. There was nothing at all wrong with this palette, but I always think I'm going to love this color story, and then I get it and I'm like, That being said, I think I'll get a lot of like 2 shadow looks out of this, some quick looks, you know, a matte in the crease, a shimmer on the lid, and out my door, and I think that it's going to be really good for that. With a color story like this, I always end up with something resembling a sunset eye, and while I think that's really pretty, it's really not mostly my jam. So this one's beautiful though. It performed very well when I used it, and I did like the look that I came up with, but this is the one that I'm least itching to use again. And that is it. I hope that this video was helpful to you in some way, shape, or form when it comes to these dupe palettes. I know that we all have different opinions about dupe palettes and whether they're good, bad, or otherwise in terms of, you know, being a copycat, so to speak. After working with these and after thinking and mulling on that idea through these 4 looks, how I feel about it is that not everybody can afford to spend $65 or $129 on a palette. You know what I'm saying? And as an artist, imitation is the biggest form of flattery in the art world. And I feel like, you know, yeah, they're kind of ripping off the idea in a way, but in a way too, they're also kind of showing that it's so good that they want to make it available to other people at a lower cost. And I'm all for people being able to afford makeup. Nobody needs to go out and break the bank or, you know, go into debt over makeup. And I think dupe palettes allows for people to do that, and to get the color stories that they love without spending $129 on a palette. So again, I hope this video was helpful in some way, shape, or form. Let me know down in the comments if there is any look videos you'd like to see or other videos with these 4 palettes. They are in my Shop My Stash for the month. And with all of that said, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm sure this was a long video, and I hope all of your makeup days are absolutely beautiful makeup days. And I will see you in my next video real soon.